Well, with just 3 days until the midterm elections, what do the polls say about the likelihood of that so-called blue wave?
Joining us now to break down all the possibilities is Tom Bevan. He's the co-founder and president of Real Clear Politics. Tom, thanks for being here this morning. So you say there are three basic overarching scenarios. We'll break them all down this morning. The first is what everyone's been talking about, the possibility of a blue wave. Break it down for us.
Yeah, that's a scenario where you have Democrats have a great night, right? You get independent voters breaking for them, undecideds breaking for Democrats. You get huge youth turnout, huge minority turnout. And the 31 Republican toss-up races that we currently have, which are 50-50 races, Democrats win 70% of those. That would push them into the 30-35 seat plus category. And that would be sort of the blue wave scenario. That would also be, right now in the Senate, we've got Republicans with 50, Democrats with 44, and 6 toss-up races. So that would be a scenario where Democrats win basically all of those races to get to 50-50 in the Senate, or maybe lose. They win 5 out of 6, and there's no change. It stays 51-49.
Well, Tom, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen momentum shift in a number of these races towards Republican candidates. Talk about kind of a middle-of-the-road scenario, what you call the blue ripple.
Yeah, this is a scenario where the Democrats don't win the 70%. The toss-ups go more down the middle. Republicans are fighting sort of district-by-district battles around the country. Some of them are going to win. Some of them are going to lose. They're going to win some, flip some Democratic seats. And that's a scenario where you've got basically Democrats pick up 24 to 30 seats, right? They still manage to win control in the House, but not by much. But on the Senate side, they're going to end up losing seats. Republicans would expand their majority, again, by beating Claire McCaskill in Missouri, for example, or Joe Donnelly in Indiana, or holding on to one of the seats they're defending in either Arizona or Nevada. So Republicans would lose the House by a little bit, but also we'd have a split decision. They'd actually expand their majority in the Senate by a seat or 2.
And Tom, what happens if Republicans have a good night? You call that the red tide.
Yeah, this is the best case scenario for Republicans, right? Which is, they win. Republican voters come out. Trump energizes the base. Republican voters come out. They win. They hold all their seats in the House that they need to hold. They win a lot of these toss-up races. And then, again, they defend their seats in Arizona, Nevada, and beat Claire McCaskill and John Tester and Joe Donnelly in Indiana, and maybe even Bill Nelson down in Florida. And that's a scenario where, anything less than 23 seats, 22 seats or less, you've got Republicans keeping control of the House of Representatives, which would be a huge victory for them, and then expanding their majority in the Senate up to 55, 56 seats. That would be a big night for Republicans. That would be sort of best case scenario for them.
So, Tom, we're getting down to the wire. A couple of days left. President Trump is out on the campaign trail. What do you see playing out based on all of the polling you've done over at Real Clear Politics over the last couple of months?
Well, Katie, the most likely scenario right now is it looks like Democrats are in position because Republicans are just defending so much turf in the House of Representatives. They've got 31 toss-up seats, as I mentioned, another 26 that are lean Republican seats. So they've got a lot of turf to defend. Most likely, it looks like the Democrats will end up winning the House of Representatives. They're favored to win it anyway. But Republicans are going to expand their majority in the Senate. It's the opposite scenario. Democrats have too much territory to defend. They've got too many races under pressure right now. So that's what it looks like at this moment. But we'll see. I mean, there could be some movement here in the last 48 hours.
Tom, real brief, when I'm on the road, there's still a lot of skepticism of polling. You do polling and analyze it for a living. Have pollsters gotten things right if they fixed it from 2016?
Ask me that question in 3 days, Pete.
Okay. All right.
We'll see. I mean, it's tough, especially in the House where there's not a lot of polling. So
yeah, you're right. Tom Bevan, thanks a lot. We'll be watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, here come the midterms, and this matters to your money in the markets. Newly released Fox polls show tightening races across the country. And take a look at this. The midterm Senate races in Arizona and Missouri are now in a dead heat, as other races really kind of tighten across the country. But perhaps one of the fiercest arguments right now is whether the bitter Senate race in New Jersey is still lean Democrat or now an outright toss-up. Cook Political Report says it's a toss-up between GOP nominee Bob Hugin and Senator Bob Menendez. But Nate Silver's 538 says nope. Menendez has led just about every poll. Republican challenger and former Celgene CEO Bob Hugin joins me live in studio. How close does it feel to you? Polls are sometimes right, sometimes they're way off. There was the very latest one is this Emerson College online poll. Bob Menendez has 47%, you're at 42%. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, I'll tell you, there's two things. The only poll that matters is November the 6th, obviously, but the feeling out in the street is just really incredible momentum. It's incredibly energizing. Our own polls, the last poll we did, we were up a couple of points. So I think it depends on who comes out to vote. That's what this election is going to be about. Who gets their voter out?
Well, as a former CEO and a J.P. Morgan bigwig, we cover J.P. Morgan all the time, and that is also in your history. As a businessman, that mirrors Donald Trump. However, that, you're pretty clear to say, is where the comparisons end. You say you are an independent Republican, not a Trump Republican. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think the economy matters a lot. So there's a lot of similarities in terms of unleashing the economy, in terms of making sure we deregulate in the right places and make sure we have business the opportunity to take risks, because it's risk-taking that creates the new innovations, the new jobs, et cetera. But I'm a Jersey guy. You know, I was born and raised in New Jersey, raised my family in New Jersey. I only left to go in the Marine Corps and left New Jersey. So I don't believe in offshore drilling. I think, I'm a fisherman. We got to keep our water and our air clean. That's the greatest gift we give to our kids and children.
Well, what about that? Because I do want to say that as far as environment is concerned, Jersey is a coastal state. I live on the Hudson River. A lot of these waterways need to be cleaned up, and President Trump has dropped regulation on certainly levels that are acceptable for chemicals to be allowed into waterways.
No, I think we have to have high standards in environmental issues. I'm a fisherman. I'm out in the water. I know when you see clean water, it's important for everybody. It's right for the economy. And if you look at Celgene, where I worked before, you can have strong economy and good environmental standards. Everything we built was with the highest environmental standards and always looking to conserve and do better. We all should be doing better. We should not have lower standards. I don't support that in the least.
I'm encouraged to hear that, because there has been this move for the auto industry to say, oh, you don't have to hit such high targets for things like the CAFE standards, fuel efficiency standards. Don't we want to lead? Because every time you raise that bar, U.S. companies innovate and they come to that.
I think if you look at the technology today is so great. We can do so much better than we're doing. And let's raise the standards.
Okay. I do just want to talk about the pharma executive background on you, because, of course, your opponent has seized upon that, and the fact that you raised drug prices for cancer victims. It's resonating, whether it's true, whether you hate it, like it or not. What do you say to that? But at the same time, you have President Trump saying that pharma executives have gotten away with murder, and he's doing everything he can to bring the prices down.
Let's remember who's making these allegations. This is a guy whose greatest lobbying achievement is to help lobby and extend a Medicare fraud. His best friend, convicted of 67 felonies, Dr. Saul Melgen, a Florida doctor, for defrauding Medicare.
He also, and he also has taken a lot of money from pharma. But you could also include President Trump in here. This is a guy who is very angry about high drug prices.
No, listen, healthcare system needs to be transformed in America. It's one of the most important things for all of us, and in the economy it's so important. And so, but Celgene, where I worked, did a great job in terms of turning hundreds of thousands of people's lives into better condition, longer living, changed multiple cancers from terminal diseases. Oh, listen, Liz, I understand, but nearly 90% of all patients paid a $50 copay or less. The company walked the walk, put the patient first today and tomorrow.
Do you have the courage to take on insurance companies?
Oh, my God, Liz, we have to transform this system. It was designed 70 years ago. We have a sick care system. We need a health care system. Prevention, wellness, the dignified end of life. We've got to transform the payment system. Pay for keeping people healthy as opposed to paying more when you get sick. Pharmaceuticals, we should be paying for outcomes and performance, not for usage.
They're giving me a rap, but I find this fascinating. I'm a New Jersey resident, but these things resonate with a lot of people. You are a former Marine. Thank you for your service.
Both my sons are Marines also.
Both your sons are Marines. Where do you stand on President Trump saying 5,000, possibly up to 15,000 troops going down to the border to hold off the caravan of people who are looking for a better life?
Listen, we need comprehensive, compassionate immigration reform. We have to have secure borders and enforce the law, but we should do it legally and we should do it appropriately. So we shouldn't, anything we do, we would never separate children from their parents. We're going to do things compassionately. If people deserve political asylum, refugees, we should provide that. But people need to have documents. We need to make sure we're preventing criminals from coming in the country. So we need secure borders, good laws, but we need compassionate, comprehensive immigration reform. Stop talking about it. Let's do it.
Last question, and we got to run. If you were to win, would you work with Democratic Senator from New Jersey, Cory Booker?
Listen, I think the problem in our country, we're all too partisan. We got to start putting people ahead of party and politics and working
pick
together.
up the phone, you'd say,
I'm going to
Corey,
call
it's
Governor.
Bob.
I'm going to call up Governor Murphy the day after I win on Wednesday and say, listen, I don't agree with a lot of your policies, but we should convene both senators and the newly elected Congress people and decide what are the 2 or 3 key priorities for the people of New Jersey. Fight about everything else, but let's start working together to get things done for people.